Lake Honda, your one-stop Honda shop. Mark, appreciate the time, my friend. Let's start with Jimmy G. If Jimmy G can return in 7 to 8 weeks and the Niners are still in it, Mark, do you go right back to Jimmy G or do you stick with Brock Purdy if Purdy somehow is playing good football?
Yeah, I think if Purdy's playing good football, you probably are just going to stay there. I mean, I think, best case scenario, Jimmy Garoppolo could come back in 7 weeks. But at that point, where are you? How you play in? I mean, there's going to be, I don't know if you saw Deshaun Watson try to come back after 2 years, but I mean, he set football back for a couple of seasons. I mean, he was awful. They scored 27 points and didn't score an offensive touchdown. I mean, he was dirting balls and throwing over receivers' heads, and he was awful. So I would just say that if Purdy's playing well, here's the thing I think I have a lot of faith in San Francisco and the 49ers is their team isn't constructed on, hey, our quarterback's got to go out and win us games. They're a really good football team. They control line of scrimmage. They play stellar defense. They've got the best front seven in football. They rally up. They have speed. They make tackles. They keep you behind the chains. They run the ball. They set up their play action. It's not about, hey, man, here's an X individual route. You got to go out and win. They set it up off their play action. They throw a 7-yard slant. Debo breaks 3 tackles and they score a touchdown. I thought Purdy was watching, and I didn't watch everything, but I watched a bunch of what he did. I thought he was really good in understanding protection. I thought he was really good in manipulating coverage with his eyes. I thought he had good foot energy. He hitched up well in the pocket. He did everything that you could ask a quarterback to do. And the philosophy there, I believe, is not quarterback go out and win us a game. It's quarterback don't lose us a game.
Right.
And I believe that he can do that.
Can we realistically say, though, that a team with a guy who is third on the depth chart, who's literally the last guy taken in the draft, was struggling to make this roster when training camp started, that a team with that guy at quarterback can still be in the Super Bowl conversation, Mark?
They still have, even with that move, I believe today they still have the 5th best odds to win the Super Bowl. And that's just it's a testament to how good their football team has been built under John Lynch and Kyle Shanahan, because they're outstanding. They really are. And so, yeah, here's the deal. If they won an NFC championship game or a divisional playoff, maybe it was a divisional playoff game against Aaron Rodgers and the Green Bay Packers, who were 13-3 that year, when Jimmy Garoppolo threw the ball 8 times. 8, that's like Ferris Bueller stuff, right? He's been absent 9 times. Come on now. Could they do it? Hell yeah, they can do it. Why? Because there's history there.
Mark Schlereth with us here, NFL on Fox 104.3 The Fan on this Tuesday, Cattles and Rami, Sactown Sports. Mark, let's say that Brock Purdy stumbles, and if we took San Francisco out of the mix, which team in the NFC would you lean towards coming out of that conference? Would it be Dallas, Philly, or do you have kind of a secret wild card?
I do not have a secret wild card. Those two are obviously the best teams. I would go Philadelphia. Philadelphia is that team that basically can line up and say, how do you want us to kick your ass today? You let us know how you want us to kick your ass, because that's how we'll do it. And, I mean, think about it. 2 weeks ago, they beat Green Bay. They put up over 300 yards rushing. Now, some of it was quarterback yardage and designed runs, but they just dominated the line of scrimmage. Tennessee lined up and said, basically, hey, man, we're going to play 15 guys in the box. You're not running the ball against us. You're going to give us one-on-ones on the outside? Okay. We'll just throw it over the top of your head. And I think the first game they have 300 yards rushing plus against the Green Bay Packers. Oh, then they have almost 400 yards passing and 3 or 4 touchdowns by Jalen Hurts. How do you want us to beat you today? Okay, great. We'll oblige. In my mind, they're the team to beat.
Mark, in the AFC, we talk a lot about the Raiders with you on this show over the course of this season, and most of it hasn't been good. We declared them dead. 3 straight wins. They're 2 games out of that last wild card spot. Are the Raiders alive?
And yes, in the AFC, certainly they're alive. Like the things that they've done with Josh Jacobs offensively and the combination or the connection that Devontae Adams and Derek Carr seem to have, otherworldly right now. And they've had a couple of walk-off wins in overtime. One against the Broncos, and then the very following week was against the Chargers. I don't know. Like overtime wins, they've really played good football. And they're a team, frankly, I think offensively, teams don't want to play right now. So, yeah, like defensively, they still have their issues. But yeah, I look at how weak the AFC is. I mean, you tell me right now the way they're playing. I mean, do you trust the Jets? Do you trust who do you trust in front? Do you trust the Seahawks? Like I think that the Raiders outside looking in right now. What are they, 5-7? I think the Raiders outside looking in right now have got have a legitimate chance to roll right up to the last weekend of the season, where I believe they play the Kansas City Chiefs with a chance to, they're going to need a little help, but with a chance to be a playoff team.
Mark Schlereth with us on the Folsom Lake Honda Hotline. Folsom Lake Honda, your one-stop Honda shop. Mark, I don't know how much of that game on Thursday night between New England and Buffalo you watched, but obviously the New England offense has been awful. Can you believe how badly Bill Belichick has managed the offense in New England, putting Matt Patricia and Joe Judge in charge of that thing?
No, and that was, I don't know what the experiment was there, and why you would do that. Having, done a New England game last year and having talked to Bill Belichick and having, spent some time with the quarterback, Mac Jones, and having, talked to Josh McDaniels a bunch, like it's hard for me to believe that that's the decision they made. Like, hey, we can do this. We can piecemeal this together. Like, Josh McDaniels is like, he is, the guy's a master class offensive tactician. And I will say that Mac Jones, and this is straight from the coaching staff, like Mac Jones has a capacity to, there's nothing you can put on his plate that he can't digest and that he won't work on and not have complete and total command of it come Sunday. So to not have, a legit offensive coordinator who's called plays and who's done it before, to have that connection with your quarterback, is a bit perplexing to me, if you will.
You're out there in Denver, Mark, and just when you think it can't get worse or it has to get better for Russell Wilson and that Broncos offense, just kind of stays right. 9 points last week, I think they had. Is there any fix? And not this year, but has it gotten to the point where there's just no fixing what's wrong there, period?
No, I think here's the thing. I think this is endemic of any organization in any business that you work in. If you appoint somebody to a leadership role without empowering that same person to that leadership role, there's going to be issues. When you appoint a head coach, but you don't empower him, nobody buys into what he has to say. And that goes, I mean, that's not just football. That's across the board in any profession. And I don't believe that Nathaniel Hackett was ever empowered to truly be in charge of that organization. And the thing that really digs deep for me and hurts, like it hurts my heart because he's a friend, is that Russell Wilson has played so poorly, and along the way, he feels like he's so tone deaf to the way he has played. And the fact of the matter is, like, the thing I love about football, probably more than anything else, is, and just team sports in general and being together in general, in a, radio can be that way, television can be that way. There's a real team, and everybody has to do their part for you. Like, if your board op isn't locked into the show's not going to sound as good as it could sound. Like, everybody's got a role, and every role is super important. And the thing that kills me is the thing I love about being part of a team is that when you really are connected that way, you celebrate other people's success like it's your own. Like, in what walk of life do you ever, when somebody gets a promotion, most of the time everybody's in that business going, I deserve that promotion. I got screwed. This is below, right?
Mm-hmm.
As opposed to being like, a guy scores a touchdown, man. And I played professional football for 12 years. I was in college for 5 years because I redshirted. I played 4 years of high school football. I played 2 years of Pop Warner football. So I played football for, 23, 23, whatever the math is. I'm not a math teacher. So whatever the math is, I never scored a touchdown, but I celebrated every one of those sons of guns like I just did it. Like, what walk of life do you ever celebrate somebody else's success other than the kids like it's your own?
Yep.
And Russell Wilson is playing absolute dog crap football, and he's going to get a whole coaching staff fired, the entire coaching staff fired. Like, that's on you. And the tone deafness that comes out of that organization from that player makes me want to vomit. I mean, I would feel like the biggest pile of crap if that was me. And, and every week I hear the same thing. Well, it's part of the process. We're just we're going to win eventually. You're going to get everybody fired. And here's what I hope happens. I hope somebody that's got the world's largest set of clackers comes in there and says, this ain't going to fly. And here's what we're going to do. And you know what? You've got a voice in this. This is the way we're going to run this offense. And here's your deal. You can either run it the way we're going to run it, the way I tell you we're going to run it, or you can sit your selfish ass on the bench and you'll never play again. But until somebody gets some power to do that, they're still going to be god awful.
Mark, great stuff as always, man. We appreciate you. We're off next Tuesday, so maybe we'll catch up the week after. But again, have a great week and a great weekend, my friend.
Thank you, guys. Take care.
Thank you. There goes Mark Schlereth, NFL on Fox 104.3 The Fan in Denver. All guests come to you from